What's up guys, welcome back to a new Kengan Omega chapter review. Today we have chapter 100. Sadly my predictions didn't come true with chapter 100 having some insane reveals like the Tiger Vessel or Kure Ryan vs Edward Wu action, or with it being a special chapter in general. You could say it was just a regular chapter featuring the continuation of the fight between Hayami and Jurota. But regardless, it was a solid and pretty good chapter in my opinion that I enjoyed throughout, with it featuring Hayami being a monster and Jurota being a beast as usual, alongside some backstory from Jurota, which is good to see. As a whole, solid stuff throughout this chapter with tons of stuff to discuss. Now onto the review. Be a mad lad by subscribing and joining the superior side, helping me reach my 2021 goal of 100k subscribers. I also have a Patreon for people who want various benefits while supporting the channel directly, alongside the Discord server and my Twitter. That's all linked in the description. Now enjoy the video. The title of the chapter is Boy M, which is very important to this chapter. It starts out with Hayami is charging first as always and getting slammed, but as he's getting thrown, he's able to grab onto Jurota, so he's adapting more and more to Jurota, and while trying to do this, he lands straight on his head from that throw, and then instantly, before the countdown even begins, he's back on his feet charging Jurota again. So Hayami is being an absolute mad lad, but he's getting somewhat closer but still getting destroyed by Jurota. Right after charging again, Jurota slams on the ground again. We see blood going everywhere. And again, before the referee can start the count, Hayami is back on his seat. We see his face all bloodied up and that one of his eyes seems to be popped or destroyed somewhat here. And I'm thinking that this has a pretty big importance to this whole fight and Hayami himself. As we know during Kengan Ashura, Meguro Masaki, the supposed brother of Hayami, he was killed by Mutaba, and when he was killed, Mutaba pretty much used his hand to pierce through his eye into his brain, killing Meguro. And the eye that he pierced through is actually the same eye that seems to be destroyed for Hayami here, making me think that it is possible that Hayami could be a clone of Meguro, alongside some other stuff that happens later in the chapter that I'll talk about, but I'll talk about this more later on in the chapter. We got Hayami mentioning that if this was for under different rules rather than Purgatory, he would be in trouble. As in Purgatory, once the opponent's on the ground, they can't keep attacking, while in Kengan, they can do whatever they want. So, you know, Hayami most likely would have been defeated by now if this was a Kengan match. While we have Jurota here giving me some Croaky vibes, he responds with, "Strength that can be impacted by a set of rules is hardly strength at all. This simply means that I'll have a long way to go." And if you ask me, this is something I could see Kuroki saying at some point during a fight, so the comparison between Jurota and Kuroki is even stronger now. And for the first time during this fight, Jurota is the one to charge Hayami, with Oma actually noticing this, saying he made the move, showing he's capable of being the aggressor during the fight. He doesn't fully rely on being defensive, which is also very similar to Kuroki as well from Kengan Ashura in my opinion. Throughout most of his fights, he was being quite defensive, but when needed in the perfect circumstances, Kuroki was aggressive and would excel at being aggressive, making him, you know, the pinnacle of martial arts. And Jurota here is giving me similar vibes yet again. So yep, so far Jurota is being an absolute beast, landing another slam on Hayami, but as usual Hayami is back on his feet before the countdown can even begin. And we can also see that Jurota's slams aren't weak at all, seeing cracks in the stadium wherever Hayami gets slammed into. So it isn't that Jurota is weak, it's that Hayami is insanely durable and is an absolute crazy monster. We got Jerry Tyson noticing that he isn't cushioning his falls at all, and that he's taking the full impact of this damage to allow himself to get back on his feet. And we even have Jerry referring to Hayami as tough as a zombie here, which is pretty funny in my opinion, but he does look like a zombie in this panel here, so maybe Hayami has the same disorder as Meguro, or maybe he has something similar. If you don't remember in Kengan Ashura, Meguro was able to convert pain into pleasure, meaning the only way to defeat Meguro in a match was to kill him, and that's what Mutaba did. We also have Dongchen from Purgatory mentioning here that Jerry Tyson's commentary is pretty spot on, which of course it is. Jerry Tyson is one of the strongest characters in the Kengan verse, would be able to stomp everyone or anyone fighting in this tournament with absolute ease, so no wonder his commentary is spot on. Jerry Tyson, absolute beast. We also see that Lolong's eyes are still open and that he's watching this fight closely, showing his respect for Jurota, I'd assume. This is where we transition into Jurota's backstory. We see him first at age 16 being the all-Japanese judo champion. Same thing for age 17 and 18, and then after that he stopped attending the Japanese tournaments. We see him again at age 19, with him saying he found himself in despair. Just like his friend Carlos Medel, he had become too strong for the sport of judo, like Carlos became too strong for the sport of boxing. So he was thinking about leaving the sport of judo to do something else. This is where we see him watching TV of the National Youth Judo Tournament, seeing a young Meguro absolutely destroy people. This is Meguro Masaki at the age of 12 before he went absolutely crazy and killed everyone in the dojo. We see him taking an interview, and Jurota at the age of 19 notices straight away that this person is going to become his nemesis and that he should sit on the throne and wait for him. This is where he enters the Judo World Championships across the world and is able to win, as we learned about last chapter from that other dude. Then right around the same time when Jurota became the world champion, that's where Meguro went on an absolute rampage and had the crazy murder case, with him killing several judo practitioners including his father. We get to see his father and other people Meguro killed in the paper Jurota's reading here. Then from that day, Jurota left judo and pretty much abandoned the world to one day find and fight Meguro Masaki in the underworld. He decided to train for 15 years, which is absolutely insane. And then after 15 years, he allowed himself to spar with others, with us seeing Dongchen, Carlos and Lolong here. And this is when he joined Purgatory, meaning that Purgatory's been going on for longer than 5 years, and that Carlos, Lolong and Dongchen are pretty much OG members of Purgatory, which pretty much fully eliminates Lolong and Dongchen from being the Tiger Vessel. But I'm guessing most people already assume those two weren't a Tiger Vessel out of the remaining fighters for Purgatory, but yep, this pretty much confirms it even more. And we see Jurota fighting his first Purgatory match, and that the person he actually fought was the real Yuzaki Mumon. If you don't remember who this is, in early parts of Kengan and Mega, the novel dude, part of Team Kengan, faced a Worm member impersonating him in a Kengan match where Novel Dude absolutely destroyed him. So around however many years ago this was, in Jurota's first Purgatory match, he was able to pretty much low diff destroy the real Yuzaki dude, which is pretty cool, I guess. He mentioned that this was hardly a challenge and that his judo was as sharp as it could be. Then after 20 years, he learned that Meguro Masaki, or Boy M, had died in a Kengan match, so his dream of fighting Meguro Masaki was pretty much crushed, until this day where he saw Jaime. This is where we cut back to the fight. As Jurota has slammed Jaime has held onto Jurota and has actually pulled him down with him, with Jurota looking a little bit crazy in this panel, with him saying, "I was right all along, you are Boy M." Jaime just has a confused reaction, and then as that happens, Jaime gets him into a triangle choke. Jurota seems fine still, but does seem a little bit crazy. "I can tell that you are him. Let's settle this once and for all, Meguro Masaki." So he's thinking here that Jaime is Meguro Masaki, and honestly, I'm kinda believing it as well. My main reason for believing now, outside of all the clone stuff mentioned about Jaime prior to this tournament, is how the same eye that seems to be destroyed for Jaime here is the exact same eye that was destroyed by Mutaba on Meguro during Kengan Ashura, which makes me think that maybe Jaime was cloned by Meguro, or maybe brought back to life with a new brain or something like that. That's why he has no memories about him being Meguro or something like that. That'll be absolutely insane. Let me know your thoughts of that down in the comments. And yep, that's pretty much everything for today's chapter review. Hope you enjoyed. That's it guys. Peace.